Hello and welcome to this very quick video, which is going to go through the latest announcement from OpenAI, which is the release of GPT-4. And that has been released today, and I would be surprised if most of you haven't already heard about it. But one thing you might not have heard about is that GPT-4 is now available to some people who can already access it without API access yet, but using ChatGPT. So if you are a ChatGPT Plus subscriber, you will have access for GPT-4, and as it says here, it's currently got a cap of 100 messages every 4 hours, which means that you can give it a try, get used to it, and use it for some of your current purposes. And that's great for anybody who wants to try the platform out before it gets released on a wider basis. So as it says here, you've got the access of 100 messages every 4 hours. That they have said that will be a dynamic limit. So sometimes it'll be 100 messages, sometimes it will be more, sometimes it will be less. It all depends on the demand at the time. You can still access GPT 3.5 as normal and the legacy model, which would be the original ChatGPT model. So what I'm going to do here is basically run on GPT-4 and ChatGPT 3.5 the same messages to get a bit of an idea of the difference in quality. Is going to go through the history of Middlesbrough Football Club. May be true, may not be true. Some of this is definitely real, as it does say there about the Riverside Stadium in 1995, the finals they got to, and also the UEFA Cup final. Good. Well, let's now go over to GPT-4. Now, one interesting thing about GPT-4 is that the updates, as I say there, look, it is a bit slower, which it does say is going to be a bit slow. We'll go through a second what it does say about each model that's on there. It's certainly a lot slower than the Turbo model, which is the model that is used as the default ChatGPT model. Now, what it does say though is it is going to be more accurate. But one that's interesting is that most of the updates that they've brought about ChatGPT in the past, or GPT-3 and 3.5, is that the updates also brought the updates to the training data the data goes up to. Now this one is still only trained up to September 2021, but as you can see on here, if you take a look at this one, I go right back to the beginning of it. The detail there, I believe on the whole, is correct. I will fact check some of this in a second, but it isn't as detailed as if you go to GPT-4, where it says on here, that's true, it was originally some cricket players that wanted to play a sport during the winter months, and Ayresome Park was the first ground that they played at, which I believe, yeah, it also says here, again, they became professional club in 1899, and Middlesbrough were the other Middlesbrough club which folded before Middlesbrough moved to Ayresome Park, I believe. If you take a look a bit further on there, there's a little bit more detail. There's got about George Campbell, a historic player for Middlesbrough Football Club. If we go a bit further on, again, this here, if you look at it, I do like the content it's got there, and what's quite interesting is the detail it goes into there with Jack Charlton, really great manager for Middlesbrough Football Club, a historic manager for the club, well before my time, but had a lot of success with the club in the first and the second division, again them promoted. And again there, the rebirth, I would say it's quite a fair, so I'll ask it to complete. So what I find interesting about this is if you look at ChatGPT, the original 3.5 model, that is quite often, this is the kind of length you'll get if you ask for a blog post. So what's interesting is potentially GPT-4 is going to be far more detailed. What I will do once I've finished this video up, I will go on to my blog and I will upload this as a blog post. I will upload it to the community tab so you can have a read of what it's written. But I would say this is a very good and very detailed blog post, which I would say truthfully is far better than GPT 3.5, and I put a poll up to say about is this going to be overhyped? Is it going to live up to the hype? And I would say, looking at this so far, quite potentially yes. So on the guidance for the different options, if you are a ChatGPT Plus subscriber, when you next log in, it will ask you if you want to try GPT-4 out. It does give you the options as normal when you go on for the different models. What it says on here is it gives you the option of default, which is, it says here is going to be quicker, not as concise, reasoning, not as good. And legacy, slightly better reasoning, not quick, not as concise. But this one, GPT-4, it does say reasoning is going to be 5 out of 5, conciseness is 4 out of 5, and speed is 2 out of 5. Which I would say, looking at the outputs we had there, the GPT 3.5 was far, far quicker. But the GPT-4, I would say, is absolutely a fantastic new update to it, which I think actually is going to fully live up to the hype. So what I will do is I will put this into the community tab so you can have a read of the post, and I believe that it is a far better quality output than the other ones. Now with the updates to GPT-4, the expectation is that it will be going through a waitlist for API access. I would expect that some of the bigger software providers that are out there built on GPT at the moment will get access to it quite quickly. So depending on if you're a subscriber to Jasper or Phrase or other GPT powered softwares, it's going to depend on the owners and the founders of this software whether they update it, because it is going to be more expensive, whether they keep it on the cheaper ChatGPT model, which is likely possibly for some of the lower priced options out there, or whether they update to GPT-4 free of charge, or whether they charge a little bit extra to give people access to it. I would hope that they do, that a lot of these providers do allow access to GPT-4, but it does depend on who you're with. I would expect most of the lifetime deals might not update them, and most of the ones who have a subscription model will update them, because it will be more of an expense. It is more expensive. When the API access is available, they have said that they will have two different options, one which will have a look back of 8,000 tokens and one will have a look back of 34,000 tokens. Now the 34,000 token one is going to be very interesting once that's released, as that will allow for blog posts or for ongoing tasks that will have a lot more of a background to it, especially in a chat format where it will allow for a much more thorough conversation with a lot of context to it, which the current models don't have, as they're capped, I believe, at 4,000 tokens, which is going to be a massive leap. Going to 8,000 or even 8,000 or 34,000 is going to make a massive difference. So this was a very quick look at the updates to GPT-4. If you are a subscriber to ChatGPT Plus, you can go and try this out now for yourself, and I believe that a lot of people, as I am here, will be pretty much blown away with the quality of the output. I will be having a bit of a play about with this for the next few days, and then at the weekend I was going to do a normal video on prompt engineering. So thank you for checking this out. If you have liked this video and the other videos I do and want to keep up to date with the latest updates to AI and the products and options you've got for building prompts on the GPT models, like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, pop them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the latest updates and the latest release by OpenAI, and if you've used it yourself, let me know the outputs that you're getting. Thank you.